Hello! Today is another book review day, and this week I have been reading The Ward by S.L. Gray. And just a little bit of a weird coincidence, S.L. Gray isn't an individual author, it's actually two authors writing under one name. And one of them is Louise Greenberg and the other one is Sarah Lotz. And that's a bit of a coincidence because I reviewed her book The Three in my last review video. And I didn't even realise that it was the same author. I just thought S.L. Gray was an author. Because normally I just pick up books that that sound interesting to me. I don't always know who the authors are. And I just thought it was a bit of a coincidence. Out of all the books in the library that I could have chosen, I picked up two by the same author without realising it. But yeah, just a little coinky-dink there. But let's read the blurb and then I'll tell you what I thought about the book. Okay, so Lisa is a plastic surgery addict with severe self-esteem issues. The only hospital that will let her go under the knife is New Hope, a grimy, grey-walled facility dubbed No Hope by its patients. Farrell is a celebrity photographer. His last memory is a fight with his fashion model girlfriend, and now he's woken up in No Hope, alone. Needle marks crisscross his arms. A sinister nurse keeps tampering with his drip. And he's woken up blind. Panicked and disorientated, Farrell persuades Lisa to help him escape, but the hospital's dimly lit corridors only take them deeper underground, into a twisted mirror world staffed by dead-eyed nurses and doped-up orderlies. Down here in the modification ward, Lisa can finally have the face she wants, but at a price that will haunt them both forever. This book is not for the faint-hearted. I'm extremely squeamish. I can't watch anything that's got blood in it, even if it's fake. I can't watch hospital dramas or things like Saw or Hostel or anything like that. Anything where there's too much blood, I can't watch it. And the only other book that has turned my stomach with squeamish imagery is Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho, and if you have read that you'll understand there's certain passages and bits and pieces in there that are really quite disgusting, and although knowing full well that this was a book about a hospital, I still picked it up and thought it would be a good idea to read it. Like American Psycho, I had to read that in small chunks and take a break every now and then. Kind of had to do it with this one as well. It's not as bad. It didn't turn my stomach as much as American Psycho. But if you are a little bit squeamish, have a glass of water with you and take a break after every chapter. So it starts off with Farrell, and he's woken up in hospital. He doesn't know how he's got there. He doesn't know what's going on, but he can't see, and he panics, as anybody would. He's told by one of the nurses that he was brought in with the symptoms of measles, and his blindness is only temporary. He needs drops, but that should cure it. There's no permanent damage. And he can't fully understand. He doesn't really remember much before coming into hospital. And he's also puzzled because he has medical insurance, which means he shouldn't be in pretty much such a disgusting hospital. He should be in a nice, expensive place. I don't fully understand the technicalities of it. It's set in South Africa. In England, in the UK, we have the NHS. The hospitals aren't bad, but it enables everybody to go to a fairly decent hospital. You can pay to have private healthcare, but our general hospitals are okay. But in South Africa, or just from this book, it appears that you need to have medical insurance, which will enable you to have better care in a nicer hospital, because the ones that are for everybody are a bit grimy and horrible and disgusting, like New Hope, or No Hope as they call it. And his bed is actually in a storage cupboard because they don't have enough beds in the main part of the hospital to take care of all of the patients, so they just have to have beds shoved anywhere, and he's really confused. Like I say, he doesn't know how he got there. He shouldn't be there. He should be in a nicer hospital because he has his insurance, but he just kind of gets on with it. But some strange things start happening to him. He can't fully, he's disorientated. He's on a drip. He's on painkillers. He's confused, but he senses strange things going on, and he senses people coming into his room in the night. But because he can't see properly, he can only open his eyes for a very short amount of time before the light really hurts his eyes. So he has to keep them closed. But he feels things going on with his body. Someone's changing his drip, but they're not doing it very well, and it's painful, and his arms hurt. And he senses, or he sees through his blurred vision, a large gentleman, grey and plodding and slow and strange, and he just can't work out what's going on. And then he meets Lisa, and the book is divided up into chapters. Farrell's chapter, Lisa's chapter, Farrell's chapter, Lisa's chapter, and it goes through alternating between the two characters. And Lisa has, I think the technical term for it is body dysmorphia, where you see yourself as ugly no matter what you do to yourself, no matter how you do your hair, your makeup, what you wear. Even if you have plastic surgery, you're still not beautiful. In your mind, there's always improvements to be made. And she loves plastic surgery, and she's in New Hope, No Hope, because her family don't agree that she should have any more plastic surgery, but she wants it, and this hospital appears to be one that doesn't ask any questions and just lets people do what they want, whereas in the more expensive hospitals, she'd probably have to have a psychological review, things like that. So she's in there, and it appears that she's had a nose job, because she's described as having plaster across her nose. And she also finds some strange things going on. She sees things at night, this strange man wandering around the hospital. And she's been in there for a while. She's been in there longer than Farrell. And they end up bumping into each other. And she explains to him what's going on. And he says, oh, I've experienced some strange things as well. And she says, let's just get out of here. It's weird. We're not ill. Farrell has his eye drops. She's just had her nose done, so she's not she doesn't need to be there. And they try to escape. But the hospital is just corridor after corridor after... it's a maze, and they can't find their way out. And they end up kind of running through the morgue, and they hear strange things. They hear people saying things that just don't sit right, and they can't kind of work out what's going on. And they manage to make their way through and find an exit. And because both of them have been in hospital, and Lisa has had an operation, and Farrell still can't see properly, and they've both had painkiller drips in their arms, they haven't eaten properly in a long while, they find that once they get outside, they can't really run. They're not strong enough to do it, and they are caught by one of the nurses, who kind of tells them off and says, you shouldn't be out here, you still need to recover. So they end up back in hospital, but in really nice rooms, and they're really confused. They can't work out what's going on, and Lisa she's alone in her room, and she's told that she needs to have another operation, and she can't understand why, because all she's had is a nose job. They say there's complications, but she doesn't understand. But again, she's kind of doped up on painkillers. She just wants to be beautiful, and so she lays there. But still, strange things are happening. She sees something strange on the television, which I won't tell you about, but you have to read it. It's quite... Again, if you're squeamish, deep breath, glass of water. And she's now being called client. And she just doesn't understand, but she's kind of accepting of it. And Farrell, again, is in a nice room, but he's now being referred to as donor. And both of them, they find each other, and they can't understand what's going on in this hospital. They're seeing strange things that you wouldn't expect to see. I'm not going to say it's so difficult without giving away anything, but let's just say it's very sinister, very dark, very disturbing. And they both just want answers, and no one's giving them the answers they want. They both want to be discharged. Farrell's got his eyesight back now, so he feels all right. Lisa she's got her nose job. She doesn't really want to stay in the hospital anymore. Although she doesn't see herself as beautiful, she just wants to get out, because like I say, there's things that are happening that aren't right, and they both want to escape. And to be honest, I did get a little bit bored at the beginning of this book. I wasn't going to give up, because I don't like to do that, but it wasn't gripping from the beginning. However, after they've escaped the first time and they're taken back into hospital, that's when it really starts, and that's when all the strange things start happening. And with books like this, I end up putting myself in the position of a character in the book and thinking, oh my goodness, how would I cope in this situation? And thankfully, I've never had to go to hospital for anything. Well, no, tell a lie, I had to have an x-ray on my ankle once, but it was just a torn ligament. But for anything kind of serious, I've never had any operations, I've never broken a bone. So I've never really had to deal with a hospital. But these people are left alone, they're not allowed visitors, they're not allowed to make phone calls, none of the doctors or nurses will give them straight answers, and it must be awful to feel so trapped, and you're not allowed outside, you're not allowed contact with anyone. They even tried to keep Lisa and Farrell apart, and they feel like they've got allies in each other, but they're not allowed to spend time together. And it really is a terrifying story once you kind of get past the ploddy beginning, which is a bit sad, because once you get on, it is really good. But once you get past that beginning bit where you kind of feel, oh, not much can kind of happen after this, it feels like it rounds itself up, and then these strange things start happening, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And it is a really good read. It really, really is. Like I say, it's dark, it's twisted, it's scary, it's shocking. It just leaves you with this sense of, oh my goodness, I don't ever want to be taken into hospital just in case this happens to me. So I do apologise if you have got a hospital appointment. Be safe, take somebody with you. Don't go to No Hope, because you might not come out. But that's all I'm saying. It is a very good read. Perhaps one to read after Christmas. It's not a jolly one leading up to Christmas. It won't fill you with the joys of winter. But a good read nonetheless. So, if you are interested in hearing any of my other book reviews, please subscribe to my channel. I do try to put out new videos every week. I put out a new one every time I've read a book. I also read from my own work, shameless self-promotion, and I give writing advice. So if you are a reader/writer and that's the kind of thing you're interested in, please subscribe to my channel. I'm now off to go and wrap up some Christmas presents. So have a good day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.